Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most haunting and forgotten chapters of the Great War Iron Horizon, the forgotten battle of 1916. This story isn't just about soldiers and strategy, it's about the breaking point of humanity, where courage and despair clashed under the choking fog of war. Many people have heard of the Somme or Verdun, but what happened at Iron Horizon was buried in the silence of history. Today we'll uncover it together. In the summer of 1916, Europe was burning. The First World War had already claimed millions of lives, and yet neither side was willing to give in. On the Western Front, a small stretch of land near the Ardennes became the stage for a battle that few would ever speak of again. It was called Operation Iron Horizon by the German High Command, a desperate attempt to break through Allied lines and secure the iron-rich hills that could fuel the Empire's war machine. At first glance, Iron Horizon seemed like just another operation in the endless grind of trench warfare. But what made it different was the secrecy surrounding it. Officially, the battle never happened. Reports were destroyed, maps were altered, and witnesses were silenced. Only fragments remained: letters, journals, and one haunting photograph taken just hours before the fighting began. The story begins with the 23rd Bavarian Regiment, led by Captain Wilhelm Cross. He was a man torn between loyalty to his nation and the growing horror of what the war had become. His troops had been fighting non-stop for months, exhausted and half-starved, when they received orders to march toward the Iron Hills. Their mission was simple: take the ridge, hold it, and cut off the Allied supply route. But nothing about this mission was simple. As dawn broke on June 4th, 1916, a thick mist rolled through the valley. Soldiers could barely see a few meters ahead. The air smelled of damp earth and burnt metal, a reminder that the land itself had become a weapon. Cross knew the enemy was waiting, but he didn't know what awaited his men beyond the fog. What none of them knew was that the Allies had intercepted their plans and prepared an ambush unlike any seen before. Across the ridge, British and French units dug in deep, reinforced with new artillery and experimental gas shells. The valley became a death trap. When the Germans advanced, the sky erupted in fire. Explosions tore the ground apart, and men vanished in the mud. The Iron Hills turned red within minutes. Survivors said the sound was deafening, a continuous roar that drowned out every thought except survival. But the horror didn't end there. During the chaos, something strange began to happen. Radios failed, compasses spun wildly. Some soldiers claimed they heard metallic screams echoing from underground, like the earth itself was crying out. Many dismissed it as fear or madness, but others believed something deeper was at work, that Iron Horizon was cursed long before the war began. Days turned into nights, and the battle dragged on. Neither side could claim victory. Cross's regiment was cut off, surrounded by smoke and corpses. His letters described the moment he realized the truth, that the ridge they were fighting for held nothing but death. In one of his final notes, he wrote, "We have become ghosts in our own war." That line would later become the haunting phrase associated with the Iron Horizon myth. By the fifth day, supplies were gone. The soldiers resorted to melting ice from shell craters for water and eating whatever they could find. The screams of the wounded echoed through the night, and the fog never lifted. The few who tried to retreat found themselves lost in a labyrinth of trenches, turning in circles until they stumbled back to where they started. It was as if the land itself refused to let them leave. Meanwhile, Allied soldiers on the opposite side reported strange sightings, flickering lights on the horizon long after the battle should have ended. Patrols sent to investigate never returned. British intelligence labeled it anomalous battlefield behavior and classified the area as restricted. It was erased from maps, replaced by blank terrain. The locals began calling it the Iron Horizon, a place where the war never truly ended. Years later, after the armistice, an excavation team tried to uncover what happened there. What they found shocked them. Beneath the ridge lay a network of tunnels, deeper and older than anything from the war. Inside were twisted remnants of machinery that didn't belong to 1916. Some historians believe the Germans had experimented with new weapons, possibly magnetic fields or early radio wave technology. Others insist it was something beyond human understanding. One recovered journal from a French officer describes a metallic fog that seemed to move against the wind. He wrote that it shimmered like liquid steel and made the air hum. His last entry simply read, "It's alive." Whether that was metaphor or madness, no one can say. The official record claims the entire area collapsed during post-war shelling, sealing everything underground. But eyewitnesses tell a different story, that something moved beneath the soil for days afterward. In the decades that followed, Iron Horizon became a legend. Veterans spoke of it in whispers, and families of the lost refused to believe the government's silence. In 1938, a German historian named Otto Weiss published a banned paper claiming that the Iron Horizon experiment was an attempt to weaponize the Earth's magnetic core. He disappeared a week later. His research was never found. During World War II, Allied reconnaissance planes avoided the area. Photographs taken from above showed strange distortions like waves of metal rippling through the ground. Pilots reported compass failures and engine malfunctions when flying over the region. After the war, the Iron Hills were declared off limits due to unexploded ordnance. But locals said it was because soldiers stationed nearby began hearing the echoes of battle at night, gunfire, shouting, and the metallic hum that had been described decades earlier. In 1961, a team of British filmmakers tried to document the legend. They called their project Iron Horizon. They never finished the film. Only one reel survived, showing fog rolling across an empty battlefield. In the background, faint outlines of men can be seen moving through the mist, but no one was there when the footage was shot. Some say it was an illusion caused by the light. Others say the ghosts of 1916 still wander the ridge. Modern historians argue about whether the battle truly happened. Official archives list no such engagement. Yet, the recovered artifacts tell another story: helmets fused together by heat, rifles bent as if by tremendous force, and soil samples containing high traces of iron and radiation. These clues suggest something unnatural occurred that day, something history wasn't ready to accept. In recent years, digital archaeologists and drone footage have reignited interest in the site. Satellite images show strange geometric patterns beneath the ground, as if vast metallic structures lie buried under the hills. Some researchers believe these could be remnants of underground bunkers. Others suspect they're not man-made at all. The mystery deepens with every discovery. For those who visit the area today, the Iron Horizon feels different from any other battlefield. The air is unnaturally still. Birds avoid the place. Compasses still refuse to point north. Locals tell stories of lights flickering at night and distant voices calling from the fog. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the final charge of Captain Cross's regiment echoing through time, a moment forever trapped in the iron heart of the earth. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the mystery. It's the human tragedy beneath it. Hundreds of young men were sent to die for a ridge that meant nothing, erased from history by those who feared what might be uncovered. It reminds us that war isn't only fought with bullets and bombs, but with secrets, the kind that shape the world in silence. The legend of Iron Horizon forces us to question how much of history we truly know. If a battle like this could vanish from the record, what else has been hidden? Perhaps some truths are buried because they're too dangerous to remember. Or maybe they're waiting for the right moment to be found again. As we look back more than a century later, the Iron Horizon stands as a symbol not of victory or defeat, but of forgotten sacrifice. It tells us that even in the darkest corners of war, human stories endure. The soldiers who fought there might have been erased from documents, but not from memory. Every whisper of wind that crosses that ridge carries their voices, reminding us that history is never completely silent. Some researchers continue to explore the site under the guise of geological study. They say there's still movement deep underground, faint tremors with no seismic source. Instruments pick up low frequency vibrations that repeat at exact intervals like a heartbeat. It could be machinery, it could be the Earth settling, or it could be something left behind from that day in 1916. The data remains unexplained. Whether the Iron Horizon was a failed experiment, a military cover-up, or something beyond human science, one thing is certain: it represents the cost of ambition. The Great War pushed nations to test the limits of nature, and sometimes those limits pushed back. The men who entered that valley never stood a chance against what awaited them, and perhaps, deep down, even their commanders knew that. There's a chilling beauty in the way this story lingers. The fog, the silence, the iron beneath the ground, all of it feels like the earth remembering what men tried to forget. It's a graveyard without names, a scar that refuses to fade, and maybe that's what makes it so powerful. Because in remembering the Iron Horizon, we remember the countless battles that never made it into the textbooks, the countless soldiers who vanished without a trace. If you ever find yourself walking through the old battlefields of Europe, listen carefully. The ground holds memories. Every rusted helmet, every fragment of shrapnel tells a story. And somewhere beneath the iron hills, the ghosts of 1916 still march, forever trapped between victory and oblivion. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the Forgotten Front. The story of Iron Horizon may be buried under a century of silence, but today we've given it a voice again. If you found this story as haunting and fascinating as I did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold tales of history, mystery, and war. Until next time, stay curious and never stop asking what lies beyond the horizon.